The Palestinian militant group Hamas has said that it is ready to discuss new proposals for a ceasefire on the Gaza Strip and also for the release of hostages and Palestinian prisoners. The senior Hamas official Sami Abu Zuhri has said that the group has accepted a request from mediators to explore new proposals and is open to discuss any deal or ideas that could lead to a permanent ceasefire and also the complete withdrawal of the occupying Israeli forces from the entire of the Palestinian territory and to lift the blockade on humanitarian aid that should come into the Gaza Strip.
The movement's delegation confirmed that the movement is open to any agreement or ideas that end the suffering of our people in Gaza and stop the ceasefire once and for all, and lead to the occupation's withdrawal from the entire Gaza Strip, lifting the siege, providing relief and shelter support to our people, rebuilding and reaching a serious deal for the prisoners.
The decision comes after Gaza's civil defense agency said that an Israeli airstrike on a residential block in northern Gaza's Beit Lahia has killed at least about 100 Palestinians on Tuesday. And at least 20 children are said to have been amongst those who were killed in this latest instance of Israeli bombing. Video footage showed several bodies wrapped in blankets on the ground outside the bombed four-storied building, and there are more bodies that are at this moment being retrieved from underneath the rubble of this densely packed civilian building that was bombed by Israel. The United States of America has called the Israeli bombing as horrifying. Washington has asked the state of Israel for answers, expressing some deep concerns for the loss of the civilian life in the incident.
This was a horrifying incident with a horrifying result. I can't speak to the total death toll, but there are reports of 24 children killed in this incident. No doubt a number of them are children who have been fleeing the effects of this war for more than a year now. We have reached out to the government of Israel to ask what happened here. We don't yet know the underlying circumstances. We have not gotten a full explanation from them about what happened. But you step back and look at where we are in this campaign.
All right, that was the American spokesperson there. Now, the State Department has said that it is deeply troubled after the Israeli parliament passed 2 laws to prevent the United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, the UNRWA, from being able to continue its work. In the United Nations, the United States has slammed Israel for not doing enough to help the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The American ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, has said that Israel's words must match the actions on the ground.
At the same time, the United States has made clear to Prime Minister Netanyahu that 1 year into this conflict, Israel must address the catastrophic humanitarian crisis in Gaza. That the United States rejects any Israeli efforts to starve Palestinians in Jabalia or anywhere else, and that Israel's words must be matched by action on the ground.
All right, so that is what the American ambassador at the United Nations had to say. Now, the envoy also reiterated the American threat to withhold arms from Israel and has warned the Israeli Prime Minister that there is no alternative to United Nations aid agency in the Gaza Strip. Remember, it is essentially American weapons that the Israelis are using to carry out their bombing campaign. Now, the American envoy also said that Netanyahu must address the catastrophic humanitarian crisis that has been perpetrated by the Israelis in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, the IDF has announced that 4 Israeli soldiers were killed and an officer was also injured in a fighting in the northern Gaza Strip on Tuesday. The Israeli Defense Forces said that they've all served with the elite multi-domain unit called the Ghost Unit, and 4 of them were neutralized in a fight with the Hamas fighters. They were neutralized in fighting in the Jabalia area, which has been the focus of the recent IDF campaign of bombing in the Gaza Strip. All right, so this, of course, is the latest in terms of what is happening at the moment. And to give us more on this, we are joined by our correspondent, Jody Cohn, who is joining us from Ra'anana in Israel. Now, Jody, tell us a bit about this offer that's currently on the table, where Hamas's latest offer, there are new terms and conditions for a ceasefire. What is the Israeli stance on the question of a ceasefire at this moment?
Hi, Mohammed. So, yes, of course, the next rounds of Gaza ceasefire and hostage talks are expected this week in Egypt. Hamas has indicated that they're only interested in a full ceasefire that would leave Hamas in power in Gaza, which Israel can't accept. But the latest proposal is actually set to come from Qatar, which involves a month-long truce with potentially 11 to 14 of the female and elderly hostages being freed. Meanwhile, Israel has said that Hezbollah and Hamas are directed by the Iranian regime, and Defense Minister Gallant has said that there's a deep connection between Israel's strike in Iran and what's happening to Hezbollah. Now, he suggested that Iran understands that Hezbollah can't help defend Iran, and that Hezbollah understands that it can't rely on Iran. And there have also been reports of a possible diplomatic solution emerging there.
All right, now this is something that is going to be talked about a lot. Besides the Gaza Strip, there's also this invasion by the Israelis in the northern part, in southern Lebanon. Give us a sense of what is happening on that front. How close are we to a resolution and a ceasefire in this war in Lebanon?
So between the fighting between Hezbollah and Israel, there's been a proposal that's reportedly been drafted by Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer, who's Prime Minister Netanyahu's closest confidant. Now, on Tuesday evening, Netanyahu held high-level security consultations about next steps. And we're actually just hearing this morning that US envoy Amos Hochstein is returning to Israel to discuss this. Now, the proposal reportedly includes Hezbollah withdrawing north of the Litani River, the Lebanese army deployed at the border, and international oversight and enforcement. And it also would include freedom of operation for the IDF if there are threats that need to be removed, preventing Hezbollah from rearming, and a 60-day ceasefire to finalise this deal. Now, this is only likely to be pursued if Israel feels that Hezbollah has been weakened enough to no longer be a threat to Israel. Meanwhile, Iran's president has said that Hezbollah's new chief, Naim Qassem, would strengthen Hezbollah. So it remains to be seen what happens on this front too.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Jody Cohn, for joining us from Israel and getting us the perspective there.
Thank you.